everyone, welcome to A Knitter's Nest. This is episode 3. My name is Lisa. I can be found as Lily Knits 2 on Instagram and Ravelry. And I got a new camera, so I'm just checking it out here. My husband said I was a little bit too close to the camera last time, so I thought I would put myself a little bit further back and see how this goes. So today is Friday, June 17th, 2016. I'm in the middle of my summer vacation. I'm a school teacher. I live outside I'm in the suburbs of Chicago. It's a beautiful summer day today. It's low 80s Fahrenheit, which I think is about 29 degrees Celsius. I just dropped my son off at the pool with a friend, and I could squeeze in a little podcast before I have to go pick him up. Thank you so much for checking my podcast out. This is episode 3, if I didn't mention that already. Today I'm going to talk about knitting, spinning, and fleece preparation, as well as another segment that I want to include in my podcast, and that's inspiration. That would be a segment of my podcast where I talk about something maybe I've read, something I've seen, something I've heard that's been particularly inspiring, and just wanted to share that with you guys. So welcome. This is A Knitter's Nest. It's a knitter's nest, but because my husband says that no matter where I go in the house, I create a knitter's nest. All around, partially finished knitting and spinning and fibery things. So I'm definitely like to nest. I'm sort of a homebody. I do enjoy being at home and just being in the garden outside, and so that's why we call it a knitter's nest. So I'm excited today because I have a finished garment. My finished garment is the Nanook cardigan by Heidi Kirrmaier, which I've spoken about in both episodes. Now it is a block away from being done, and the ends have been woven in but not trimmed yet, because I've been told that you're supposed to leave the ends untrimmed till after you wash, and then you can trim your ends. So this is it. Now, of course, it's very, very warm outside today, so it's not something I'm going to be wearing today, but let me see if I can show you what it looks like. So it's made out of Swan's Island merino worsted, and I was so super excited to get this off the needles today. One of the reasons I'm doing this podcast is to see if I can focus on specific projects, get them done, and then document them via the podcast. So I'm super excited that I have a finished cardigan. This is actually my first full sweater with sleeves that I have made for myself. So the knit was really very nice. It's Heidi Kirrmaier writes a beautiful pattern. And this Swan's Island merino is so soft. It's zero itch. I mean, absolutely no itch. And I'm quite warm today. And usually when you're warm, the wool could really be itchy, and it's not scratchy at all. So I'm a little concerned. I'm used to wearing things that are kind of large on me, like kind of oversized. So this cardigan definitely fits me. It fits me across the back. It's not a real loose, open cardigan, but I like how the front's kind of waterfall in the front. So in the pattern, she specifies for you to do a decrease here along when you're knitting the body, so that you have less bulk in the front. But I actually really like the way it turned out. So I am going to probably use just wear it open, or possibly use a brooch to keep it closed. This is a little brooch. So very happy that I have finished garment. So I want to share with you, I have 2 other sweaters on the needles that I have started in the past that I put in hibernation that I have not finished. So the next one I'm going to do is also a Heidi Kirrmaier pattern, so I'm going to show you that in just a little while. So yes, so this is my finished cardigan. I'm super pleased. There's that excitement at the end when you're binding off and you've got that last couple stitches and you're thinking, how is it gonna fit? And you know, and I just was like, oh, I'm gonna knit faster. So I can't wait till to wear it when it gets cooler out. So yep, that's it. What else am I working on? I'm working on, that's my only finished knitting this week. I am also, as far as works in progress goes, I'm working on the Pure Shawl by Cabin 4, which is made out of Cascade. Echo Duo is the white, and Blue Sky Alpaca Surrey Merino is the pink. I think the colorway here is Dawn, and this is just ecru or cream. And I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and order this Echo Duo in a light gray, or just to give this some contrast, because these two colors are so similar. You know, there's really no difference in tone. So I thought that maybe the garter stitch border should go in maybe a little darker gray, not super dark, but so this knit, I'm in this middle section, and she has you do what she calls a twist, and I don't think I'm giving away too much with the pattern, with anything, but she has you slip and then put it back on backwards and then purl the stitch. And it creates this twisted stitch. But it's not the same as purling through the back loop, because, you know, after a couple of rows of this, I was getting really tired of slipping these stitches. I mean, you can see how long I'm not a fast knitter anyways. So this was just, it was kind of getting on my nerves that I had to keep slipping these stitches like this. So I figured it out, and because I have super sharp signature needles, I figured out a way to do the twisted stitch without having to actually lift the stitch up and reorient it and then purl it. And what I'm doing is I'm sticking my needle in. I'm going to show you here in case you're doing the pattern. I'm putting the needle in, and I'm grabbing that back leg like so, and I am purling. And then I am getting it through the little, underneath the little X there. So I kind of messed that up because I'm at an awkward angle. But yeah, so you go in and through there and then purling it off. So, you know, if anybody's interested in how I'm doing this, I can do a better, closer tutorial on this. But I was just having a lot of frustration with having to slip every stitch, you know, slip, put it back, and then purl. So since I've discovered that shortcut, this is going a lot faster. So I'm in the middle of a row. So you really can't see the shawl very well, but it is so, oh my gosh, this is so soft. It's baby alpaca and merino, so it's very, very soft. So this is ongoing work. Really enjoying it now that I have kind of a shortcut for that purl stitch. So those are the two things that I've been working on since the last time I podcasted. So let me have a sip of coffee here. Yeah, I'm just having my afternoon coffee. This is a mug that I got from Etsy vendor. I think her name is Abby Tonks. I think that's a name from Harry Potter. And she's an excellent potter. It's just a very nice, comforting mug. Okay, so that is knitting. All right, so my Nanook is finished. My Pure is in progress. So let me talk to you a little bit about what I plan on working next. So I pulled out of hibernation another Heidi Kermeyer pattern, and this pattern is the Quicksand pattern, which is made out of Quince & Company linen, and this is their this is the Kestrel, which is their worsted or Aran weight, so it's a little bit thicker. And the colorway is, let's see, how do you say that? Minos. So it's a kind of a dusky, purpley gray. It's so beautiful. And I had started this last summer thinking, okay, it's linen and it's a garment that I could wear in the summer. And then when I didn't have it finished, when the weather turned cold, because I'm easily distracted, I put it in hibernation. So I did have the foresight to put little point protectors on the edges of the needles because linen is notorious for slipping off your needles and getting away from you. So I think I'm using the recommended needle size. I'm not really sure what the recommended needle size was, but I think it's an 8 or 9. I'll put that in the project notes. And I'm knitting this, so I got myself tangled up here. So I'm knitting this with my Diacraft interchangeables. Boy, I did put those on tight. So these are, I think they're size 9, which is 5.5 millimeter, I believe. And these were needles that I had ordered before the Diacs, Tom and Linda, had lost their source for diamond wood. I guess the diamond wood factory burned down. And I had placed the order for these. And I thought that I would never see them, just because the, their raw materials was no longer available. But out of the blue, I got a message from Linda saying that my needles were ready. So I was super excited. This is it's a smaller set. I think I have them in like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think 6 sizes, and these are the rosewood. And they are really, really lovely needles. Everything they said about Diac needles was true. But I don't know if they're even. I think they might be getting a new source for diamond wood, or they're investigating other types of materials they could possibly make the needles with. So yeah, they're really, really beautiful. I know you can knit with really anything. You don't have to have expensive tools. But I find that just the pleasure and enjoyment of knitting with really nice needles that have a nice, the point that you like, and they have the nice smooth join that never gets snagged. It just adds to the pleasure of knitting. Though, my girlfriend, knits these beautiful, beautiful garments and items with just old aluminum needles that she's had for years. And so the tools do not make the knitter, but I like having the nice tools. So that's what I'm going to be working on next. Isn't that pretty color? It's like a purpley gray. So I'm hoping next week when I podcast again that I'm going to have this done. So I think this podcasting thing is actually really helping me stay on track for what I want to do. I apologize that sometimes I don't finish my sentences. When I was editing my last podcast, I realized that it's kind of strange. Like I start saying a sentence and then I just kind of trail off and I don't finish the sentence. My husband is very tolerant. He says, you just have to talk to them like you're talking to me. You just, pretend that you're just, relaxing and sharing your project. So it's really strange how you see your mannerisms and inflections and things when you tape record yourself. It's really a strange experience. But anyway, I digress. So that was knitting. What else is going on? All right. So the linen cardigan, it's called Quicksand, is next up to be finished. And the other thing I plan on doing is the Small Flowers mitts by Pinaguri, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry. I got the idea for doing these mitts when I watched the Camabornia podcast. Now, the Camabornia podcast was recommended to me by Emily of Fibertown and Nicole of the Gentle Knitter podcast, and she had mentioned this Camabornia podcast. which is really a lovely podcast. It's in Swedish and it has subtitles. So you really have to read if you want to know what they're saying. But it's just beautifully photographed. I mean, they're both, her and her partner are just, it's like an art project. This podcast is just so beautiful. And she's doing a knit along with these small flower mitts, I think they're called. And I thought I might do that in hand spun. So I pulled this from my hand spun stash. This is a gray Corriedale alpaca blend that I had blended on my Clemis and Clemis drum carder. I think I spun this winter. I think I did a 70%, about 70% Corriedale and 30% merino. And what I did is I took the Corriedale locks, and this is a Corriedale from Whitefish Bay in Wisconsin. It's a gray, fine Corriedale fleece. And sorry to say, I bought it last year and I still have some to wash up. I have some that's packed away, but it's very, very fine and bouncy and just really beautiful. So I flicked the locks and I blended it with this baby alpaca from Dream Swept Alpacas, which is an Etsy vendor. So it is combed top. I believe it's combed top. No, yeah, well, it's top. It's there's all the fibers are in alignment, and it's this beautiful gray. So pretty. And when I blended the two together, the Corriedale and the alpaca, on my drum carder, I got a really, really beautiful yarn. I was surprised how pretty it is. It's very light, and it's a fingering weight. I think fingering to sport. And I have to say I have not measured the yardage. I think it's a very small amount. I think maybe 1.5 ounces. So I'm going to use this for the body of the mitt. And for the color work, I'm spinning up some Hilltop Cloud that I got a while ago. It's sorry for the crinkling. This is the Bach Pack Wildflowers, and it's superfine Shetland, and it's hand-dyed superfine Shetland, perfect for color work. So I only need 5 contrasting colors for there's a band of little flowers. So I'm going to use, this is going to be the body of the mitten, and then for the color work I'm using this pink that came with in the pack. It's really pretty rosy red. It's really pretty. It's a little bit, I think it's a little bit deeper saturation than it's showing up there. So I'm spinning this on my Kapar spindle. I was watching, what's her name? Woolen Spinning podcast. Her name just went out of my head. Rachel. And she said it's Kapar. And she's Canadian, so she should know. So she should know. So I'm just going to spin up these little skeins of red and this lime green. It's lime green. And I'm spinning these on my 2 wee little, these are so adorable. It's like they're little toys for grown-ups. This is, that sounded really bad. It's spindles. I'll probably edit that out. So this is her, this is a little tulip wood. It's called her midge. This is, oh, by the way, I'm sorry, the maker is Enid Ashcroft. And she is a wonderful Turkish spindle maker. She's also in the UK. So this one's made out of tulip wood, And this one's just a little bit bigger, but not much. And this one's made out of Coco Bolo. So, and they're just so adorable. They're just darling. So I'm going to do the lime green and the red and a darker green, which I have here in my little Talenti. Remember last week I said that I can store my spinning project in a little gelato container, a little 1 pint container. So this is the deep forest green. So I'm going to have the 2 shades of green. This is another Kapar spindle. This is Kingwood, I think. So I'm going to spin the 2 greens, the red, and some white. So I think you need 4 contrasting colors. So I'm going to use white and then the pink and the light green and the dark green. So I do have 3 other shades in here that I have to work with. So there's a purple in there, and there's like a kind of a medium yellow green, and then there's also a brown. So I think I'm going to knit up Kate Davies' Puri Fleurs beret after I do this one. I've done a little bit of color work. I started a pair of mittens, Helen Magnusson mittens, and I had 1 mitten all completed, and then there's 1 other mitten that's still in progress. So again, I get distracted very easily, and I end up jumping to another project before I finish one project, which is really a bad habit. And unfortunately, you do that and then you have nothing to show for all your work. You just, you dabble here and you dabble there, and then at the end of the day, you have nothing to show for it. So I know people rationalize and say, well, I'm a process knitter. I think if I said I was a process knitter, that would just be rationalizing that that I'm a little bit ADD when it comes to my crafting, and I don't finish things like I should. So yeah, that I think I'm going to be able to whip those up before next week. And if you want, if you want to participate in the CAL, you have to have it in by June 24th. So if you head over there to the Camabornia podcast, and you can get more information on that and a link to the pattern. You can also find information about it on my website, on knittersnest.com, where I post all my show notes. So that's knitting and spinning. Let me be an organized podcaster here and check my notes. So yeah, the Camabornia group has the Puri Small Flowers knit along that's going on right now. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And if they turn out well, I think I might make some pairs for my sisters. I have 4 sisters, and I always have a good intention to make them something for Christmas. And I have made small cowls and things. And a shawl for one, but I sort of underestimate the time it'll take for me to actually make something to give away, and I end up not being able to do that. But I think these mitts will be really a nice gift for. I just want to make sure that I'm actually filming. Yep, I'm filming. Excuse me. Yeah, so. It's not too early to start thinking about Christmas. I mean, really, if you're going to knit for Christmas, you really should start in June or July. So we'll see. All right, so that's all for knitting. As far as spinning goes, I have 2 finished skeins, and I'm super excited to show you guys. The first one is the Asters colorway by Inglenook Fibers that I showed you last week. It was not plied. Now this was all spindle spun on my Kapar spindles. And you know, I really like spindle spun yarn. It's very special. It's because when you spindle spin, you know, you're paying attention to really every inch of your yarn and in all its imperfections and everything. But this has got a lot of texture and noils and, you know, different things. It's not supposed to be a real smooth yarn. I got 186 of a 2-ply, which I think puts it into the Aran weight. So, and it smells good. It smells like gardenia. I got a new Eucaland's got a new scent out. Well, it's not really. It's not gardenia. It's jasmine. So yes, I washed it in. And I have this, the little tag I made for it, I got out of a magazine that I want to talk to you about a little bit in my inspiration segment. So yeah, I'm super excited that I have a finished one, not one finished skein, but I've got 2. My second finished skein is this one. Now this is from Fiber Artemis. It's a 70% Polworth, 30% silk. It is the Mexico colorway. It was spun on my big wheel, my Lendrum Saxony, and I think I started spinning it worsted, and then I just did to my default. I spun from the fold. I'll show you what that means. What that means in just a minute when I talk to you about my ongoing spin. And it's just this really, really pretty. It's yellow going to orange and then going to this pink. It's pink. So I was trying to match up the 2 bobbins as I was plying. I mean, I wanted a little bit of overlap, so when I got to the yellow on the one bobbin, I wanted to be on the yellow on the other bobbin. But you know, I didn't mind a little bit of overlap. But what happened was I had so much extra pink on the one bobbin that it was really going to mess up the gradient. And I really wanted a 2-ply. I didn't want to, I don't know how to Navajo ply yet. I mean, I kind of played with it a little bit, and I know it's easy, but for some reason I just have a mental block when it comes to chain plying. But so what I did is I wound off a bunch of the pink on a center pull ball on my ball winder, and I made this teeny tiny wee little extra skein of pink 2-ply, so that when I'm knitting, if I need it, I can just use that extra pink. Look at me all organized and everything, putting labels on things, go figure. I have a whole basket of hand spun with no labels, and I know what it is now, but am I going to know what it is 5 years from now? I don't know. So this is 420 yards of a 2-ply, and this is 98 grams. So hey guys, I think this would be considered a fingering, right? So what I have planned for this is I'm going to make a two color shawl. I'm going to use this skein with another spin that I just started yesterday, another spin from Fiber Artemis, and this was, what is this called? This is called Blue for You. This is the same blend of Polworth silk. I took a little bit, I was trying to really match the, I subdivided the braid into 2 nests, like this. And I don't really pre-draft at all. What I'm doing, and I've started the other one, and what I do is I take my fiber and I pull it off by the staple length. It's a pretty long staple. I think it's about, 3 inches or so. And I do this. It's a little bit compacted just because it's been in my stash for a while. So this kind of opens it up a little bit. And then I fold it over my hand like this, and then I'm spinning it off the tip. And I'm spinning it on my little gem, which I usually use my little gem by Magic Craft for applying purposes. Excuse me. Because it has a very large bobbin. It's all my wheels are Scotch tension, and I love it. But the little gem has such a strong take up. It seems like no matter what I do, it just it pulls like an ox. I mean, you could have hardly any tension at all, and it's just pulling. So I found that if I really grease up the shaft of the flyer first, it's a lot better. Or if I sort of cross it over the two hooks, it kind of lightens up the tension. But I felt like, maybe I should spin something on my little gem. So I'm looking for the bag. What did I do with the bag? Okay, well, anyways. So, blue for you. So what I'm going to do is, I think of Vera Valimecki, I think it's called Different Stripes, or Stripe Study, which I had made before, and I really like the pattern, and I know that Laura of the Knit Girls did it with a gradient. She did it with the blue, and then she did it with these hot colors, and it's striped up so pretty. So that is what's upcoming with my hand spun. So what do you think? I mean, don't you think that would look cool? The cool blues with the hot colors. So I really want to make an effort to knit with my hand spun. Again, what's the point of making all this hand spun if you're not going to do anything with it? It's just starting to collect in baskets and on shelves, and I'm really inspired by people who use their hand spun and actually create garments, which again, that follow through that I've been speaking about. So those are the two finished skeins I showed you, and the in progress fiber. All right. So the last thing I wanted to talk to you about today is fleece preparation and what I've been working on. Last week I was telling you about this Coriadale that I had purchased. This is a flicked lock. It's super, super bouncy and voluminous and just so pretty. And I had purchased some white baby alpaca from a fleece. Now, I've had very, very good luck buying fleeces, and I know a lot of people will not buy a fleece sight unseen. They actually want to touch it and see it, and you want to touch it for soundness. You want to take a lock and pull it and make sure it doesn't tear. I know Andrea of Andre Sue Knits purchased a faulty fleece, a Shetland that just ripped. I have been so lucky in my purchases that I've had really very, very good luck. But I did buy this baby alpaca, which it is so soft and such a lovely fleece. But oh my God, the veg matter in this is just ridiculous. Even my husband, saw it outside. I don't know if you can see this, but maybe it doesn't look so bad here. But trust me, actually this little bit's not too terrible. This, even now, it's it's just, you can just see it dropping out of the fleece. It's got all these little bitty hay seeds and twigs, and I've heard alpacas love to roll around, and this was a cria fleece. This was a baby. Here's some fiber. It is so soft. So I have a feeling that people who are allergic to alpaca might not actually be allergic to alpaca. I know they say it's hypoallergenic, but I've heard of a lot of people having sensitivity. Well, firstly, some alpaca has guard hair, which is definitely more coarse than the rest of the fleece. But I think that there might be like residual dust or hay, like if let's say you're allergic to grass or hay, and then it ends up kind of staying in the fleece. Because, I mean, even though I have washed this and, I think some people will will tumble the locks before they send it off to you. You mean the shepherds? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's really, really pretty, and it's got a lot of really pretty crimp. But it's been a pain to process. I thought I cannot send this through my drum carder like this, because what'll happen is all the veg matter will just get evenly distributed through your bat. I mean, some of it will fall through and show up at the bottom, but a lot of it will just get ground up and put right into your bat. So I had to pull out my combs, So that's what I wanted to talk about today, just briefly about, so basically what I have been able to do is go from that horrible, veg-filled fleece. It's not horrible, it's just got a lot of veg in it. And I created these little, relatively free, these are a little comb nests that I created from this same fleece. And oh my Lord, the waste. When you comb, you got to be brutal. You got to just, stuff you don't want in your yarn, you just got to throw out. It's just like killing me to throw out some of what was left on the combs, but what can you do? So what I did is I pulled out these babies. Oh, I have 2 sets of combs. So I'm going to show you both sets here. The first set I purchased, again, I purchased these before I really knew what I was doing. These are Valkyrie Extra Fine. And yes, they are scary. I mean, they are sharp. And, when you're using this, you don't want to be drinking when you're combing. You want to make sure that you're got your wits about you. I bought these. These are the super, Extra Fine, I think. Now, I also bought this mounting device where it's basically just a wooden tray. I didn't bring it up, but yeah, you clamp it down on a table, and it makes the combing process much easier. Especially these are kind of heavy. I have a really great resource for you if you're interested in combing, and it's Robin Russo's video. I think Interweave Press put it out, and it was about combing fiber. And in this video, I think you can download it. You can purchase it and download it. And sometimes they have a really good sale, like 50% off. I think I got it for a really reasonable price. And she goes through all the different kinds of combs and the combing techniques, from alpaca to wool to double-coated fleeces. And that video really helped me a lot in determining how, teaching me how to comb. So to make a long story short, what I'm doing is I am combing the fiber. Now, there's a whole, science to combing, I suppose. Like if you're combing wool, most people want to, put the butt end first on the combs. And show you how they work here real quick. Susan McFarland of the Susan's Fiber Shop also has an excellent video on combing. But if you're doing locks and they have lock structure, you want to put the locks. This is called loading your combs. And again, what I would do is I would clamp this to a table because it's a lot easier. But I'll show you how this works. So you take your other comb, and okay, so this is on the table like this, and you go and you take little bites. If it's wool, you can use, if it gets staticky, you can use a little water with oil mixed in. Robin says that with alpaca, you do not, because alpaca does not have grease. But anything that has grease. So what you've done is you've transferred all the fibers onto this other comb. Okay, so this is clamped on your table, right? So you take this and now I took a little bit too much there, so you want to make sure you don't take too much. Just a little bites of fiber. You can see this is, and you can flip this over. See how my arm right here is getting tired holding this? I mean, I suppose you could put it on your, your lap, but again, these are very, very sharp. And as a matter of fact, she says make sure you have, some antibacterial stuff and Band-Aids when you're combing, because you're going to really hurt yourself. She also says make sure that you are up to date with your tetanus shots. So there you go, right? So this is what's left over. Now this fleece is so nice that I would take this. This is what happens with combing is you end up keeping only the longest fibers, what they call the best fibers of each lock, and what's left is these shorter fibers. And traditionally this would go to the woolen mill, and they would make woolen yarn out of the waste. A lot of times if what's left over has a lot of junk in it, I just throw it out. But you do this a number of times. Like I probably do another, they call it a pass, to have it completely combed. And then you just pull it off your combs. Now you can also use what they call a diz, which is basically looks like a button. It's got concave. It's got a hole in it, and you pull the fiber through the diz, and then that gives you a nice even width of comb top. So yeah, so I'm just going to finish this here and show you what this looks like. Lifting it up a little bit. Like I said, if you want a really good instruction on combing, Robin Russo's video is very good. Also, like I said, Susan McFarlane, she's got a YouTube video out there that goes through the basics. But so yeah, so you get this comb top, and then you make it into your little nest, and it's ready to spin. Now people get real, they want to make sure they keep the tip end always the same, because if you're concerned about always wanting to spin from the tip or the butt end, you want to make sure you keep track of what the tip is. So if I've done 4 passes, this should be the tip, and then okay, that's the one I know I want to spin from. For me, I don't really care. I don't really care. You know, I just spin it. So that's how, just a quick demonstration of combing. Well, I use the combs to get rid of all the twigs and sticks and hay seeds and things in the fleece. So I just would took my fiber. Now I'm going to show you another pair of combs that I have that I really like. These are called, these are a lot lighter, and they're a little bit further spaced apart. These are from Jason Riley of Riley Wooden. Jason Riley's got an Etsy shop, but he makes spindles, and he also makes combs. Now these are really, they're nice and they're really lightweight, but again, they're very, very sharp. I mean, these are deadly weapons, and you could really injure yourself or others if you're not careful. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my dirty fleece and I'm just loading the cards. I don't have any lock structure to think about. And again, you're just doing this very, very carefully. And in the process of loading these combs, I'm already taking out some of the veg. Now I would probably put a lot more on there, and then I would spritz it with just a little bit of water, and and then go ahead and do the combing. So my point here, I don't want to spin this as worsted, or I don't want to actually, I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with the whole fleece. It was 1 pound, 12 ounces. I'll be lucky if I get half left, because so much of it is going in the trash, and a lot of it, I think the weight was veg matter. So yeah. So this little bit, we usually have all the seeds and stuff in it, and it just goes right into my garbage. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a number of passes, and I'm making my little nests. It's still got stuff in it though, but it's a whole lot better than it was. And what I'm doing is I'm just picking it out. So anyways, I made all these little nests here with the fiber. So here it looks like this. It's getting very pretty, very soft. I mean, it'd be awful to be allergic to alpaca. It's just so soft. And so what I'm doing with some of this is I'm blending a 50% alpaca with 50% Corriedale. And I'm blending it, excuse me, getting out of frame here. I'm blending it on my drum carder. I have a Clemis drum carder. And what I'm doing is I'm weighing out 1 ounce of Corriedale locks that have been already flicked. I like to flick the locks before I send them through the drum carder, so any kind of neps and noils that sometimes on the butt end won't go into my my bat. So I take 1 ounce of Corriedale and 1 ounce of my little alpaca nests, and I'm making this. This is 2 ounces, and the Clemis and Clemis carder handled 2 ounces beautifully. It would handle more. I was searching for a drum carder, and I had a lot on my short list, but I ended up with buying the Clemis and Clemis, and they were really lovely to work with, and I could be happier with the carder. So what I did is I carded the Corriedale, and then I ripped it up. I pulled it apart, and then I sent it through the carder again with the. I better be careful with these combs here, because I'm going to injure myself on camera. So I blended 1 ounce of Corriedale with 1 ounce of alpaca to make this bat. There, a drum. Oh, it's so soft. A drum carder is just a really nice thing to have. I love my hand cards, and you can totally blend on hand cards. As a matter of fact, I did for my little flowers mitts. I'm just going to hand card some alpaca and Corriedale together with my hand cards and spin it on a spindle because I need such a little amount. This, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to see how it spins up. Probably, I've been thinking that, after I spin a sample, I should knit something like maybe I know Rachel from Woolen Spinning is making little wristers just to, wear, to see how it wears. Or I was thinking of making a Vivid square from the Vivid blanket out of all my different hand spuns, and then creating a Vivid blanket all made out of all the different breeds. So I think somebody already did that. It's not an original idea. I'm full of very few original ideas, but I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, so stay tuned to see what's going to happen with this. So yeah, fun. So talked about combing, and I talked about my drum carder, and yeah, the last thing I want to talk about just a little bit is just inspiration. I was at the bookstore last weekend, or a couple weekends ago, and I saw this magazine at my local Barnes & Noble. It's called Flow. It's a magazine for paper lovers celebrating creativity, imperfection, and life's little pleasures. And it's it's printed in the Netherlands. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful magazine. And as a matter of fact, this is where I got my little, it came with these little labels. Now, it says in the front that you're not supposed to transmit anything from the magazine. You can get in trouble for copyright infringement. So I was a little bit hesitant to show you guys too much about the magazine. But it's just a beautiful magazine about, living mindfully and creativity. I mean, for example, there was an article in here about balance. It says more in balance, please. And it says, a balanced life seems like the most desirable object of our times, but will it really make us happy? So this journalist did some research about, what does it mean to have a life that's in balance? And what I thought was really neat about the article is that she talks about how we need meaningful activities. It seems sort of common sense. But what was it in here that really struck me? Oh, I think I'll be safe in just reading you this little quote. It says, "There are very few people who would really love to live in a mythical land of plenty where roasts fly right into your mouth and it rains hot pies, pastries, and pancakes and the rivers run with lemonade. A place where you never need work again and you can lounge about all day. This isn't a vision of life that would work for me," says the author. And then she quotes I think a psychologist. It says, "When I give clients career advice, I often ask them, what if you had enough money to stop working altogether? What would you do next? Most people start daydreaming about the international trips they would take, the new house they'd buy, the tropical island they would move to. And then they get a rather vacant look. Because what do they do next? The funny thing is, a lot of people in the end want to work on something anyway. On that tropical island, they would probably end up weaving grass skirts and selling them on the beach, just to have something to do. In essence, we are all worker bees, and the best thing we can do for our mental health is to work on something that is attainable but challenging. And I thought that summarized, my desire to make things. I think just the whole making process. I have to say that before knitting, I don't really know what I did with my summers. I know I used to work summer. I used to teach summer school. Maybe read, do a little traveling, but I mean, before I had knitting and spinning and fibery things to do, it's like I'm a different person now that I have this passion and this hobby and this thing that it just gives me so much joy to do. I just can't imagine my life without it. So anyway, there's lots of really, there's excellent articles in here. And again, it's a beautiful magazine. It's got beautiful paper if you do any scrapbooking. It's got a thing in here about mindfulness. And here's just a picture of this beautiful paper. Just such a beautiful magazine. I could see getting a subscription for this. It's just beautiful. So yeah, it's just about living a meaningful life. And one of the things also that struck me is about Gelassenheit, which means to let it be, let things be as it is. And realize one of the quotes in here that struck me was that realizing that you can reach out to a friend now who may not be there 10 years down the road, thanking people now because you still can. And he says, I'm always aware that some of my friends don't have long to live anymore and that I should visit them now because soon it'll be no longer possible. So some of the things about becoming older and just, growing old gracefully, but also just having a attitude of gratitude and a mindfulness and acceptance, I guess. So anyway, so that's of course on the back it says all you need is less, which I guess for everything except fiber, right? Okay, so with that, I think I'm going to sign off. Again, I really appreciate you tuning in to my third podcast of A Knitter's Nest. I hope you subscribe. And those few people that have subscribed and sent me comments meant so much to me. It really encouraged me to make another episode. There are so many wonderful podcasts out there with great production value, and I know I'm just one little rock on the beach. So for you guys to tune in and be interested in what I have to say is pretty awesome, and I really thank you so much for that. So until next time, have a great week. Bye-bye.